Ojvazod, Otavari, it's me, I'm here. I'm streaming. What's going on, everyone? I don't know that anyone's here because no one knew that I was doing this today. Yeah, I am set up in the new place, so please let me know if the Wi-Fi or if the connection's a little spotty. Usually there's a little bit of a lag right at the beginning, just because my tired old machine isn't very good at switching over. But yeah, I have a new setup here, despite how similar it looks to the old setup. I guarantee you this is an entirely new place and an entirely new arrangement. But welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, hey, what's up, Jose? Look, somebody is here. I knew there was somebody here. What's going on, Jose? How you doing, sir? It has been too long. Way too long. But welcome to the world building stream. This is something I would love to get back to doing. There was kind of a dry spell earlier in the year where I was in the process of moving for a bit and I had a bunch of other things to deal with. But thankfully, I am kind of back on the horse now and I should be back to doing more regular streaming content. Not just this, but other stuff too that I have planned kind of in conjunction with our Patreon. But yeah, welcome everybody. So I have a new monitor that's over here that has a bunch of stuff on it. So if I look over here, that's because I'm looking at my notes. But you, lovely people, are right here. Yeah, welcome. This is a world building stream. This is a stream we do every Sunday, hopefully going forward. We used to do it every Sunday, but hopefully we continue at 6 p.m. PST. And we work on this campaign that I have now been working on for, I think, 2 years. My God. We are relatively close to running it. Obviously, I'm here in Los Angeles now, which is great. Yeah, exactly. That's the name I've not heard in a long time. A long time. I think Alec Guinness has one of the best voices, just like in film at all. Like, man, what an accent that guy has. I gotta use Alec Guinness for more NPCs because I feel like he has such a characteristic voice. Alec Guinness. I think Ewan McGregor does a great job in the prequels, by the way, of like replicating that voice. Anyway, we're off topic. But it's a campaign I hope to run someday soon. Obviously, I'm now in Los Angeles, which is where my player base are. Yeah, right? Remember when I had to do that? What a nightmare. Now it's in my house. I have much better internet. But I'm in Los Angeles, which is lovely, and that's where most of the potential cast is at. That's part of the reason I relocated here to kind of help me make some content. But obviously COVID is still in the way, right? Still getting in my face with the Delta. So we're not quite ready to launch this yet. I've got Yogg to finish, and I'm working on that. I think most of my players are vaccinated, so we should be able to get that scheduled and recorded sooner rather than later. I would love to be like releasing Yogg at the beginning of the year of 2022. Because it's going to take some time to record and time to edit and all that stuff. And it's a big, the final arc is a big one. But then after that, I should finally be able to launch this thing. So hopefully all of this hard work will be put to good use. Oh, I did want to mention, today we're just going to do kind of like a regular stream, just sort of to get the dust off and get back to it. But I am running a personal campaign that is not Dwarven related necessarily. Yeah, in 4 months. Oh my God. Don't say that. But that is personal. It's not necessarily Dwarven related, but the characters are. It is set in Undune, and the characters are headed to Undune, are headed to Khûm in the next couple of sessions. The campaign is set, boy, like a couple thousand, maybe like 1,000 years before the events of this campaign. So it'll be really, really different. They're going to be there during the reign of Dunya Dragonbane, a famous Dwarven queen we might have talked about once or twice. So I may do some streams about that to figure out like what's going on in Khûm at that time. But for today, we're going to focus on something a little simpler. We are going to talk about our last clan. Now, the last time we did a stream, I think we talked about what I thought was the last clan, but then I realized we still had one more. So for those of you who are just tuning in, this upcoming campaign is called Helm and Crown, and it is sort of a The Hobbit meets Game of Thrones. Yeah, put them in the old Dwarven Republic. That's exactly right. It's like pre the Seven Sorrows, Jose, right? It's like they're there at Khûm's like height, you know, when it's the best. Yeah, but today we're going to talk about clans. So those of you who don't know, Helm and Crown is a sort of a campaign loosely based on the implied like second sequel to The Hobbit. The concept of once the dwarves have retaken Erebor, you know, how long does it take them to get things operating again? So it's set in my world of Undune. and it is all about the kingdom, the fallen kingdom of Khûm, this like dwarven homeland that the dwarves are returning to reclaim after a series of disasters called the Seven Sorrows have laid it low. Khûm has 7 ruling clans. There are many clans, but there are 7 kind of great clans, or elder clans as they're called. Think kind of like the houses in Game of Thrones. The great houses like Lannisters and Starks and stuff. They have 7 of those, and we have on the stream, we have built, I think, 6 of them. We did the True Silvers, we did the Deep Veins. Oh, you know what? We did Deep Veins. We didn't do Iron Springs, and I'm going to plead the 5th on the Iron Springs because there's some secrets I don't want to reveal to people who might potentially listen to the podcast. Deep Veins we did Golden Plates, we did Lodestone last time, and now this week we're going to do the final clan that we haven't done, and that's Clan Cloudpeak. So the way this is going to work is we're just going to kind of go through these different categories, and we're going to sort of flesh them out as best we can. Cloudpeak I have been putting off because I actually feel like I know Cloudpeak okay. So today might be more of me just getting my thoughts out on paper than it is necessarily brainstorming, because I have a pretty developed idea of who they are, but it's important for me to write some of these things down so that way I'm not just pulling from memory. And Clan Cloudpeak will probably feature in the upcoming game that I'm playing personally. So it might be good to kind of get these guys bubbling in my mind. I'm going to try to drink a lot of water. I've been told that my voice gets kind of hoarse during the stream. So if it ever does get hoarse, hit me up and I will get some more water. Great, so let's talk about this. The basic premise behind Clan Cloudpeak is that they are one of the 7 Elder Clans, and they are from an area of Khûm called the Roof Beams. Khûm has many mountain ranges in it, I think 5 or 6. And the Roof Beams are the northernmost mountain peaks, and they're also the tallest mountain peaks. And the Roof Beams are famous because they have a rare mineral inside that's only found there. Khûm has a lot of these kind of like signature minerals that are only found here in Khûm and only in certain parts of Khûm. And that mineral is called wing rock. And wing rock is exceedingly rare. It's maybe one of the, like in terms of sheer volume, one of the rarest and fewest of the minerals of Khûm. But it has an extraordinary property. Nobody knows exactly how it works, but the conceit is that a tiny trace amount of wing rock levitates naturally up to a certain height. And so that you will find these deposits of wing rock in the roof beams, and basically because they are only found really, really high up, the roof beams are these mountains where their peaks like hover, 20, 30, 100 feet above the rest of the mountain. So it kind of looks like a mountain, and then where the wing rock is, it causes it to detach, the peak to detach and float a little bit above. So you get these crazy, impossible, like fantasy marvels of these peaks these mountains whose peaks like hover above the actual base of the mountain. And so the dwarves of Clan Cloudpeak mine the wing rock, and they use it to make levitating stuff. So, like floating mine carts and things like that. It's pretty rare and difficult to come across. So it has led Clan Cloudpeak to kind of the idea is that their philosophy downstream of that is that they are very aloof and that they have kind of a superiority complex. Like they believe themselves literally above the ground, above these people. It's a little bit literal, but I kind of like that sort of one-to-one. So we have a lot of different categories here. I'm not sure where the best place to start is. They are famous for their seat, Castle Cloudpeak, which is quite literally a floating castle. It's a large stronghold, a big fortification that they constructed on a bit of wing rock. But what's unusual about this is that it can like fly around, right? So it's magically enchanted. I don't know whether it's something about like how the wing rock is positioned or whatever, but it can fly around, go wherever they want. So they just kind of like coast about, and again like lends themselves to this idea that they are literally above the other clans. So let's see, maybe we start with materials then. I was trying to figure this out because a long time ago, I might have to like dig back into my old notes here, but a long time ago I figured out like what their materials would have been. Because each clan has their signature mineral. And then, what do they have for minerals? Did I say? Ooh, I don't think I did. Oh, alabaster. Yeah, we need one more. So, let's take these over. Wing rock. Each clan has like kind of 3 minerals that they're particularly good at mining that are found in the area where they are. And one of them is always the magical one. Is there any crazy clans that made his own individual flying suit? That's interesting. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. So let me look up alabaster, because I actually don't know tons about alabaster, like as a mineral. But that's one of the ones they have for sure. I apologize if I get a little slow as I look this up sometimes. My internet, or my computer doesn't like to do too many things. A fine grained, translucent form of gypsum, typically white, often carved into ornaments. So it's a soft mineral. A soft mineral, frequently used in architecture. Yeah, so they're kind of all about like loftiness and superiority. Often used in architecture. Alabaster is favored by Clan Cloudpeak and their decorations. Like, you can see them having big pillars and almost having like a Greco column. Boy. Cloudpeak for their decorations. Great pillars of gleaming white stone. Greta pillars. Wow, I cannot spell. Oh my gosh. Okay. So Jose says something about a darker than dark mineral. Yeah, I want to see, like, I'd like to have them be real. Like, wing rock is sort of the fake one, but then I want to see what other ones I already have. So yeah, let's just scroll back up. Lodestone has, what are their minerals? They have lodestone, iron, and shale. So iron and shale we have. Golden plate has lusterine, which is their magical one, jade, and gold. Makes sense. Deep veins have sacristeel, which is their magical one, limestone, and diamond. Okay. What is there, like a gem that they like? Cloudpeak? Is there a good gem? It could be like obsidian or something, right? Although that's glass. Or onyx? Maybe onyx could be cool. If you want that like black and white thing, Jose, that's cool. Illuminite, quartz, and marble are Clan Brightshard, and then Clan Oathshield and Hornwinder both have the same ones as True Silver. True Silver has mithril, granite, and silver. I don't know those two. What about onyx? I kind of like onyx. I don't know anything about onyx. Hematite sounds familiar. I don't know augite. Let me look up like where, because like I don't really care about like actual geology, but it would be nice if it was like these are found in tall mountains, you know, like that kind of thing, just to have it be a little bit. Oops, let me drag this over. So let me look up onyx, because I like that idea, Jose, of the like black and white. I'll see what onyx has to say. If it's like it's found in rivers, chalcedony, I don't know how to say that. Range from black to almost every color. But you could say it's like black onyx is, I think, what most people assume. Where do you find it? Geographic occurrence. Onyx is okay. Magnetite. Yeah, lodestones are magnetic. Yeah, that's cool. Doesn't really say where they're found. I think I'm gonna go with, because they have a really like beautiful luster too, right? Like if you look at onyx like gems and stuff, they have a really like pretty, could be jasper too. I think I like onyx because you could get onyx in different colors, but it could also be in black. Yeah, there's agate potentially too. Let me look at like minerals found at high elevations. Maybe there's one to find there. At high elevations. None that are like coming up. The minerals contained in igneous metamorphosis that are formed at high temperatures and pressures. So that's not the same thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna do onyx. I think that's cool. So it's alabaster, onyx, and wing rock. The most common form of gemstone found in the roof beams. The Clan Cloudpeak. Let's see. Favors. Ooh, black opal. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. What's the deal with opal? Black opal. You always get so excited, Jose. Black opal. Why do I feel like opals are pearls? Is that not accurate? I'm sure it isn't. I don't know anything about gemstones. Opal is a hydrated form of silica, water content. Classified as a mineraloid. Mineraloids. Yeah, this is always so... Can you almost any kind of rock? Okay. Precious opal. What does it look like? Black opal. Because like I want something that like has kind of a like a cloud or like, you know, elevated. That's kind of cool. It's got like a rainbow thing. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I wasn't like married to onyx, so we'll do opal. Cool. Good suggestion, Jose. Space is black with tear dust and crying. Ooh, according to the angle of light. That's cool. I like that. Clan Cloudpeak. Often use opals in their decorations, right? I think we got to figure out the philosophy of these guys because, like, I'm having a tough time envisioning like what's the function of these things. And I also feel like we have a couple of clans that are like all about appearance, you know. Golden Plate is all about like status and stuff. Opals with a black base and rainbow shimmer in design. Pretty bland. Often use opals. Haha. Okay, and then wing rock. This is their big one. So this one I know about. An extremely rare magical mineral. Extremely rare. Oh my goodness. Type. Extremely rare and magical mineral. Yeah, grandeur was what I was thinking too. Yeah, I think grandeur might be a big part of it. Wing rock. Even a trace amount of wing rock can levitate hundreds of pounds. A trace amount of wing rock. So I think like we have to kind of figure out the mechanics of how this works. I think it's like the more wing rock there is, the higher it goes and the more it can carry. So like, you know, and I'm talking about like flecks of this stuff, right? Like a fleck of wing rock could lift like 100 pounds or something, right? Like I can see them having like chairs and stuff, you know, that are like elevated by little tiny bits of it. So these mountain peaks that float have got to have like, you know, veins of it or boulders of it in there, right? That's what allows it to hover that high. If you had that much wing rock and nothing on top of it, it would just like shoot into the stratosphere, right? So they have to be very careful in the way that they mine it. Even a trace amount of wing rock can levitate an astonishing amount of weight. And is prized for this. Whatever. A little vague, but okay, cool. So yeah, let's talk about philosophy, because like I feel like we have a couple of clans that have very similar philosophies. So Lodestone's all about like unity and defense and stuff, so I'm not worried about them. So Golden Plate, I think, is kind of in the same area. So we have here, to a golden plate, their thing is status. What matters most is how you were seen. Appearances and titles and decorations are everything. Ruling doesn't simply mean power. Prestige is equally important. Above all else, the golden plates seek a pedestal above other dwarves and many loyal peons below to worship them. So that again kind of feels like it's similar, right? Like, so we have to make sure that the cloud peaks are a little bit different, because if it's status, could also be, you know, height. Deep veins are about tradition. The old ways are the best ways. Khûm belongs to dwarves, and dwarves belong underground. Kind of like extremely like right-wing, sort of conservative view, like the old ways are the best ways. That's deep vein. Bright shard is also similar, but they're a little bit more about profit. We're not particularly concerned with legacy or great works, or they care only for the glint of gold. At the head of a vast mercantile empire, they are concerned with displays of wealth, particularly literal brightness. They also eschew many traditional dwarven ideas, including beards, and gleefully embrace cultural ideas, particularly human ones, from beyond Khûm. This makes them friendly, welcoming, and devoid of the strict xenophobia of other dwarven clans, such as the Deep Veins. So, profit. These two are minor clans, and then true silvers are about exceptionalism. The true silver, this is the ruling clan. They're, by the time of the campaign, they are no longer a thing. But when they were in power, again, very much like the Targaryens, the true silvers believe wholeheartedly in their exceptionalism. Their origin, constructing the ancient crown that won them their kingdom, is deeply ingrained their own superiority into their minds. They are the greatest clan in the world, and the clan to which the rest of Khûm aspires to. There is jealousy certainly among their lessers, but that's to be expected. Only the true silvers have the right, a divine right given by the gods, to rule, right? So the trick is that, like, between all of these different things, like, how do you have the cloud peaks? Like, a big part of the cloud peak identity is like aloofness and being removed from everything else, right? They kind of have the, like, sometimes they have the most strained relationships with their underclans because they don't really care about the, like, petty stuff of the ground, you know? They spend all their time literally in the air, their head in the clouds. So I love grandeur. I think grandeur is a good word, but I'm trying to figure out, like, how does that motivate them day to day, you know? Grandeur. So, okay, catch up with, I see the furniture maker does this majestic massive stone table if they gotta get, yeah, exactly, right? This tiny amount of it. Because, yeah, I feel like the throne floats and little things like that, right? I like the idea of, like, almost an irresponsibility that the cloud peaks have, right? That it's like, they're like the type to sort of like, hey, what's up, Castle Red Fox? Welcome. That, like, they're the type to, I wanted to have there be some place in the roof beams where the dwarves, like, tried to, yeah, I think irresponsibility is a big element. That, like, Wingrock is dangerous, and if not properly handled right, can cause, like, you know, destruction, and if it's mishandled, it could really get into trouble. So I think, like, not taking responsibility for their sort of charges is a big part of their philosophy. I don't think they think of that as being true, but it's like a big theme with them that, like, when things go wrong, they kind of wash their hands of it. You know, like, that's all problems for down there. So I like grandeur, but I'm trying to figure out, like, how do we phrase that? Like, it could be, let's talk about Castle Cloudpeak for a second. So Castle Cloudpeak is their seat. It is a magnificent palace constructed atop an enormous deposit of wingrock. And enormous, you know, relatively speaking. It's not actually huge. It's probably like, you know, a boulder or whatever. Maybe not even, maybe like a soccer ball. That's enough to, like, lift this whole castle, right? Atop an enormous deposit of wingrock that floats, or that soars over Khûm, wherever the cloud peaks wish to go. Hey, what's up, David? Thanks for coming in, man. Maybe they're the ones that think nothing is impossible unto others' eyes. While everyone goes, it can't be done, they do it. But internally, they go all nerds on a math problem. Yeah, I was thinking about that with grandeur. Like, is it something about, like, ambition? You know? I want them to feel kind of distant, but... yeah, like, here's their relationship to True Silver. Aloof and uninvested in the petty squabbles of the crown, True Silver always saw Clan Cloudpeak as inveterate complainers, who only came to the crown wishing for them to solve their problems. Antisocial and superior-minded, the Cloudpeaks were not well favored at court for all their airs. You know, it's like they're only around if there's a problem. They don't really help. They don't really, like, you know, they want to stay on their own until that moment when they need something from the crown. But the question is kind of raised that, like, what on earth do they do all day? I mean, maybe it's luxury rather than grandeur. I kind of wonder if it's luxury. You know, they want to be comfortable. They want to, like, yeah, it's all about, like, having the best view, you know, and getting the best, like, they're like your sisters. Yeah. Yeah, I can't decide between grandeur and luxury because I don't want them to feel like they're not ambitious. I don't think they want anything. Once they have Castle Cloudpeak, I think they're content to just, like, float around and not really do anything. Like, I almost see them as, like, the Kardashians or something. Do you know what I mean? Where they're, like, they're wealthy and they're literally above it all, and they just kind of, like, look down on it, and they're more concerned with lounging around and, you know, eating dates and stuff than they are with, it's like opulence almost, but I kind of like luxury. Above the crown squabbles, only the music of the spheres. Yeah, that's kind of interesting if they're, like, scientists, because that was the other angle I was going with, is that they're constantly improving Castle Cloudpeak. So let's talk a little bit about, like, how they're used in the story. So the conceit is with Cloudpeak that during the sorrows, as the sorrows begin to happen, there's essentially, like, an accident whereby and I haven't figured out the, like, mechanics of this, but they have to flee Khûm. All the major Dwarven clans flee Khûm in the wake of this, right? There's nothing else to mine. The mines are going dry. There's dragons. There's all this stuff. So they flee Khûm, and Clan Cloudpeak is no different, but they, for some reason, have to leave behind their keep, their castle, their flying castle, right? I think this was originally Jose's idea, but the idea was that, like, they have, like, an anchor that they can drop from the castle to, like, stop it moving, right? It does go against the religion, but that's kind of interesting if they are more concerned with their own bodily comforts. Like, if they are against the religion, not against it, but, like, you know, think about how many people are Christians but are cruel or petty or violent, right? Like, I think just because that's the religion, that's the thing that they aspire to. No, your lore is good. Like, that's definitely part of the religion is Umbor. But there are 6 gods, and Hemdall, the god of like thieves and laziness, like, would really embrace this idea of, like, don't do work. If you do work, you're a sucker, right? Is the kind of trickster Loki god. So honestly, you saying that kind of makes me wonder if it's more interesting if they're, like, a little bit heretical on some level. You know, they're, like, bad priests. I don't think that, like, precludes them being mathematicians either, right? Like, just because some members of the clan are this way, but, like, what is the clan sort of culture? Anyway, my point was that, like, they have to end up abandoning the castle for whatever reason, and they try to drop an anchor to, like, root it in place, but for whatever reason, the anchor doesn't catch, and the castle is basically on this loop that it goes through around and around and around Khûm over and over again, and does so for 500 years. And the anchor that they drop is, like, dragged across the surface of Khûm, across the kingdom. So it, like, digs this enormous, perfectly circular trench all the way around. I think we call it the anchor way. Eventually, it does get caught, and the chain snaps, right? And but the castle just, like, keeps repeating the same circuit over and over again. So I want in the campaign, you know, as you're traveling, you will sometimes just see this enormous castle just like fly past you, and you don't really know what it's about or why it's there. So then part of the campaign was going to be all about like helping Clan Cloudpeak get back to the keep, right? Like finding some way to stop it or fly up to it and like turn off the autopilot and like restore their castle to them. So the idea of them being mathematicians is interesting because one of the plot points I wanted to make is that like the castle has a bunch of traps. Just like the whole thing is like a gauntlet of traps. And before they left it, they turned all the traps on because they didn't want anyone to steal their castle. But now it's keeping them out. They don't remember the traps, or, you know, everyone who was around then is dead now. And it's a matter of like, how does the party navigate this gauntlet of traps in the dungeon, right? Yeah, and then that's the thing. They could totally climb up the chain. That's exactly the point, is that there's this massive chain that's swinging down from the castle as it makes these loops. Again, Jose, that was your idea, right? That they had this anchor that dragged all the way around. Way back when we did the mapping episode, like a year ago. Okay. So I think I like luxury. I think I like them being about comfort and being about, like, being at a safe distance at all times, right? They don't like to get in. They don't like to get mixed up. The only time it could happen is if they, if something goes wrong. Yeah, exactly. They totally forgot the password. Totally. So, Clan Cloudpeak does not like to get their hands dirty. Does not like... I mean, and I think there's something awesome about, like, how, like, antithetical that seems, because they're dwarves, right? Their whole thing should be getting their hands dirty, right? They prefer to watch things unfold from a comfortable distance. Keyword, comfortable. They enjoy the finer, and I think they can have like a real appreciation for like sculpting, right? Like I love the idea that they have like these little passions that like sometimes are, you know, and it could be like artistry too. Like they could totally be about that, right? So they could be sort of traditional dwarven things like sculpting or you know, stone carving, but it could also be like the loot, right? Like I see them as being these like literally out of touch kind of elite sort of nobility, right, that hovers above everything. Yeah, right? Yeah, it could be. They enjoy the finer things in life, and from music to drink to poetry. Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, Castle Red Fox. I want them to kind of feel like they're difficult. The way that these clans work in the game is that the party is supporting one particular underclan, Clan Hornwinder, whose leader, whose Thane, like claims to have or has a claim on the throne. Right, and then there's all these two other claimants. There's two other clans both trying to vie for the throne of Khûm, because like the ruling clan has disappeared, right? They're gone or eradicated or whatever it is. And then there are a couple of other clans that don't have a claim on the throne, but you can like curry favor with them, right? So if you're trying to get other clans to back you or play, Clan Cloudpeak is one of those ones that are kind of like up for sale, you know. Yeah, they bathe. That's exactly right, Jose. Totally. They're all concerned about like how they feel and their comfort and their scented oils and stuff. But Clan Cloudpeak is one of the clans that they can like swear fealty to you, right? But you would have to endure all of this. You'd have to like deal with them. And I will talk about like their specific members and like how that works in a little bit. But I like the idea of these clans being important and necessary in the story. Like you won't be able to be, you know, crowned king or queen in this case if you don't have the support of the clans. But to get the support of the clans, you sometimes have to jump through these hoops, right? That are annoying, and yeah, they feel annoying. One of the other ones, Clan Golden Plate, will support you if you can get the queen, Harada, to marry their like weird, weak-willed son. You know, they're like little Joffrey. So just stuff like that, like these kind of political wheelings and dealings. You don't need to deal with Clan Cloudpeak, but one of the other claimants might do this for them, right? It's kind of like a race to see who can snatch up the kind of like neutral territory of the kingdom. So they enjoy the finer things in life, from music to drink to poetry. They do not concern themselves with the petty squabbles of the land below, preferring instead squabbles of the kingdom below, preferring instead to dwell in opulent comfort. You know, it's like their floating castle is like the equivalent of like one of those houses in Malibu, right? Up on the yeah, that's awesome, Castle Red Fox. I would love to see a Clan Cloudpeak dwarf in the party. That'd be awesome. I'm curious to see if anybody does that. Like, in order to be a member of the party, you have to have some kind of connection to Harada, the claimant that you're working with, but that could totally mean that you are an expatriate member of one of these clans. That's neat. Okay, so let's talk about politics a little bit. I'm gonna go back up to Golden Plate because they have an interesting, I want to steal their format for politics. Yeah, here we go. Let me just copy this over, and then I will. So the way the politics works is that at the start of the campaign, the characters have a chance to sway these clans to their side. What Clan Cloudpeak wants more than anything is the return of their seat. They are happy to support whomever so long as they can recover Castle Cloudpeak. Or so long as they deliver them the keys to Castle Cloudpeak. Deliver them the keys to Castle Cloudpeak. In and amongst themselves. However, there is contention about how this is to be done. So early on in the campaign, the characters basically attend, I believe it's called a Thane moot, and it is a meeting of all of the Elder Clans to try to determine a Thane thing, to try to determine who is going to be the king, right? Who's going to be the royal clan, and that's where everyone kind of puts their things forward. Harada, their patron, puts forward her claim, and everyone is shocked because she's a member of an Underclan, right? Not one of the Elder Clans, and how dare you, and so on and so forth. But the party gets a chance to basically like sway the different clans to their side. They still have to kind of jump through some hoops, but it's kind of all about, the party has a chance to persuade each of the Elder Clans to her cause. The heads of Clan Cloudpeak are ready to swear fealty to whichever claimant can recover their stronghold. On a success, Clan Cloudpeak, or a member of Clan Cloudpeak, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, like what their political thing is enthusiastic about, believes the party can do this, and enthusiastically, let's actually do like some percentage of Clan Cloudpeak's leadership believes the party can do this and enthusiastically supports Harada's claim. Willing to work to swear fealty on condition that the party swears an oath to recover the castle. So it's like they get their permission, they get their oath, but now they're bound to do this thing. If they fail, they doubt Harada's chances and consider one of the other clans, either Deep Vein or Iron Spring, as better candidates to recover Castle Cloudpeak. Cool. So let's talk about the prominent members, because that kind of like blends right into that. Actually, let's do history first. So I wanted to toy with this idea of like, here, I'm gonna get some more water and then I'll be back in just a second, because I want to talk about history and like, again, it's pretty loosely. We're not gonna go too deep into it. But one moment, I'm gonna get some water. Oh, let me mute. Hey folks, sorry for the delay. I spilled some water everywhere. Tieflings in my settings, says Castle Red Fox, very much act like these dwarves, except they love to adventure. They also just love to spend as much gold as possible while doing it and make sure everyone is having a ball. That sounds awesome to me. That's, if you're gonna have money, that's what you should do with it, right? You should adventure, and you should spend your money to make sure everyone's having a good time. Yeah, I support these tieflings. Okay, so let's talk about this. Ancient history. I don't know that they have tons of ancient history. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this. Clan Cloudpeak made, again, during antiquity, Clan Cloudpeak made many attempts. Antiquity, antiquity, clan boy type. So I'm a little bit dyslexic, but I'm also a bad typer. So the combination of being a little dyslexic and being a bad typist and being like watched makes my spelling just atrocious. Made several attempts to construct their seat, including one that ended in a disaster. I liked the idea that they like poorly balanced it, that if you go into the roof beams, you can still find the crashed like first castle that they tried, right? Like they made a couple of attempts before they got this one correct. Once they perfected the castle, they almost never left their floating palace, right? At least one Thane never set foot on the ground, right? Like they spent their entire time in the castle. I think maybe that's something we'll cover in famous personages. There was like some famous Thane who never left. Okay, so then during the Seven Sorrows, I had to look this up because I did a little bit of work on this. It was like a couple of, I think it was like last summer, I took a week off of doing anything else, and I just spent like a whole week designing a dungeon in Khûm, just for fun. I designed the first level of True Throne, just because I was like excited about it. And I ended up doing a lot of history on the Seven Sorrows, like specifically like the big leading up to it. So let me pull that up, because I wrote some stuff about Cloudpeak in there, and I want to make sure I get the names correct. But basically, like, the conceit is that whomever was Thane at that time, right, at the beginning of the sorrow, when the sorrows were going on. It's like a young, newly appointed Thane, or newly named Thane. Which, for those of you who don't know, a Thane is basically like the leader of the clan, right? The king of the clan, or the queen of the clan is called a Thane, and it's a gender-neutral title. The Thane, like, was the one that set the castle on its, like, route or whatever, and then swore an oath that they would, like, see themselves returned to it, right? Would get back to Castle Cloudpeak. And because of the way my dwarves work, dwarves don't have a set lifespan. They live basically until their work is done. So that's usually a couple of 100 years. You can have dwarves that live much less than that. You can have dwarves that live way longer than that. And so I liked the idea that there's one character that the party can talk to that was alive during the sorrows, even though that was 500 years ago, right? So he's like exceptionally old, because he was already decently old when the sorrows happened, and then he's been alive for 500 years. What happens, though, is that the dwarves start to get like sort of beyond the 300 like 300 to 500 range, they start to get kind of like, they suffer this sort of like dementia where they fixate on whatever their unfinished work is. So if it's an oath or something, right, they're kind of bound to it and it keeps them alive. So this Thane is this sort of like addle-brained old man who is just like, hasn't died because he can't, right, until this thing is completed, but he's obviously no longer in functional control of his clan because his mind isn't really there anymore, right? But when the sorrows were going on, he was still a young man. So I want to like make sure I just get his name right and see what I wrote about him. That's Bright Shard. That's Iron Spring. Where does the Cloudpeak stuff? Here we go. Let me read the history of it, what it says. Zedgar is his name. He's the current. Okay. And I think he was originally a Thane, or Zedgar, Thane of Cloudpeak. Zedgar, Thane of Cloudpeak. Than. He was originally potentially going to marry the king's daughter, Tamsa Truesilver. Okay, is that all it says? I think that's right. Yeah, so Zedgar is his name. Okay, cool. Okay, sorry, I just had to read that. There's secrets in it. The Thane forgot the password, yep, and can only remember while his special booze, which was left in the castle. Yeah, that's cool. So, a young Thane during the Seven Sorrows. Zedgar swore an oath to return himself, or that his clan, or that he would once again sit upon the throne of Clan Cloudpeak. That was 500 years ago, and while he lives still, his mind is completely gone. Now his children and grandchildren argue over how best to put their patriarch to rest. And I like the idea too that like they can't, like, he is technically still the Thane, so nobody else can become the Thane while Zedgar is still alive, right? And he can't die. I mean, he could be murdered, I guess, but like he can't die until he achieves his thing. So obviously he's a male dwarf. Male dwarf. Yeah, for sure. And it could be a password, it could be a key too, potentially, right? Okay. We'll come back to that. So through a tragic series of events, which I haven't quite figured out, Zedgar and his clan were shut out from Castle Cloudpeak, or were forced to abandon it. To abandon Castle Cloudpeak. While it made its many circuits of the kingdom. He swore an oath to return, and even after hundreds of years of exile, will not die. Will not die, or cannot die until his oath is fulfilled. Returning, not bold. So then recent events, returning to Khûm. The Clan Cloudpeak could care less who sits on the throne. All they want is their castle back. Yet Zedgar's descendants disagree about how this is to be done. So let's talk about the other members. We're getting through this. Holy shit. Like, there's not much else to do here. Famous personages, the prominent members. I think the prominent members will take a little while, because these are like, I see them as like the descendants of Zedgar, right? I like there to be at least 3 of them. And I wanted them all to have like, almost like a Knives Out kind of like, you know, they each have their different sort of like tactics or opinions on how they want this done. So this is where I'll need your guys' help in brainstorming who these people are. I think one of them is a wizard. One of them, I think, was like an eagle friend. And then I'm not sure about the other one. I like the idea that they are not like that. I mean, at least one of them, if not maybe 2 of them, should be Zedgar's children. But I like the idea of at least one of them being like a grandchild. You know, that it's like a generation removed, or like a grand nephew or a grand niece or something like that. But the idea here is that, you know, none of the dwarves of Clan Cloudpeak really have an easy, obvious way to get there. And so they've each kind of like formulated their own little plan of what might be the best way to do it. So there's the wizard. I kind of figured was someone who, like, I like that maybe that's the grandchild, and the wizard has basically like dedicated their life to learning magic, so that way they can fly up there and either defuse the traps or do whatever. That, like, I like the idea of somebody becoming a wizard with the specific intention of learning to fly, right? So let's roll for them. Yeah, there are definitely artificers. That's interesting. I like that idea. There's an Artificer Clan called Clan Iron Wonder, who are associated with a different... we also have Underclans to do yet, too. I forgot about that with other clans. So we got stuff to do. They're associated with another Elder Clan, but that doesn't mean they couldn't get them. So what about... so the wizard is going to be a male. It's a male dwarf. So I think it's like Zedgar's... I want it to be like a grandnephew. I think that's interesting. Male dwarf. We'll just call him nephew for now. Oops. I'll do a name later on my own, because I tend to be very picky. Like the dwarven names in particular need to have a certain sound. And I always appreciate people like trying to help me brainstorm, but like I get so like, well, about them. It's I feel bad shooting at people's like perfectly good ideas, because it's not exactly what I want. The most distantly related to Zedgar The nephew became a wizard, or like studied wizardry with the express intention of flying up to Castle Cloudpeak. It's the nephew. I see what you did there. And recovering and besting the traps to recover the castle. Yeah. So that's part of it. Oh, that's cool. Want to deal with the rampaging blue dragon with martial actions. Another group of artificers built a mechanical dragon to fight them. Yeah, that's a very like kaiju solution. Is that we have to build this giant robot to fight this giant monster? Yeah, that feels very like a Toho movie, you know. Okay. Was this something related to Zedgar, the nephew studied wizardry? So my instinct is that like because they studied wizardry and they went to this whole process of doing that, they are the youngest, but I also kind of like the idea that they are the least, like they're almost like the most resistant to outside help, you know, because they had to go and do all of this. My instinct is to say that the young one like would accept the party's help, right? Let's see, but I kind of think it's more interesting if they have the opposite, right? They are the most resistant to the party's, yeah, totally Pacific Rim, right? To the party's interference, believing that the clan can handle it on their own. They have, I also wanted there to be like, hey, what's up, Brent? Yeah, that's great. The wizard took many notes, thinking many truths were. Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, very good, Brent. I love that. Because I wanted that to be a big part too. That like the old man is like he might have important clues like rattling around in there somewhere, right? Yeah. Beautiful. The old Thane, while delirious, may have important clues. Like, I like the idea that like he does know certain passwords, but they are all jumbled. You know what I mean? So one thing I want to deal with these guys too, or these characters, I should say, is like their claims, because I think a big part of it is who like. There is no like successor, you know. So that's interesting. The way that it works with dwarves in my setting is that like they name their successors, and it's kind of a like master apprentice thing, right? That like it may be your child if your child accepts you as their master because of the weird way it works. But if you're like a Thane or you're or a king or a sovereign or a queen or whatever, that like you name a successor, and that successor does not have to be your like blood relative. So there are a lot of instances in the history of Khûm where, you know, the crown might pass like down a lineal line, right? Like, you know, mother to son to daughter to whatever, right? Like, but there are also instances of it jumping, of it like going to members of other clans, right? Yeah, that's like what I was thinking, Brent. Like, what are their individual qualifications? So that's my question here. Is that like, I like the idea of Zedgar saying that like, you know, the thanedom of the clan will pass to whomever, right, restores the castle. So what's interesting about this? Ooh, yeah, let's change the politics. On a success, Zedgar believes the party, right? Believes the party can do this and enthusiastically supports Harada's claim. What's interesting about that, right, is that, like, because they can pass the Thanedom to people outside their clan, the party could do this. Like, some party member could become the Thane of Clan Cloudpeak, right, if they're successful. And then it immediately sets the other members of Cloudpeak against them, right? He's very willing to swear fealty on the condition the party is supposed to recover the castle. This immediately sets the actual heirs against them, right? Now it becomes a race that if Zedgar says, you know, like, opens it up to against them. And that's what's cool too, is that then if the three claimants from the clan are normally, like, at odds with one another, now they have, like, an enemy of my enemy. Like, listen, I might want to rule the clan, but I would much rather have my, you know, aunt rule the clan than some stranger, you know, some dwarf from some other clan, especially if they're all kind of about their luxury and their, like, elitism. Ooh, that's really good, man. Yeah, cool. So we should change the failure, right? On a failure, Zedgar doubts Harada's chances. And he, like, kind of offers it out to Deep Vein or Iron Spring. Zedgar doubts. Or that, like, you know, he's too confused or whatever. Like, it doesn't work on him. Okay, so then let's figure out these other ones. So one of the ideas I had was that Khûm has giant eagles, a la Lord of the Rings. I wanted to draw, like, a handful of touchstones from The Hobbit, because The Hobbit was, like, the original inspiration for the campaign, right? Like Erebor and the Lonely Mountain and Smaug and all that stuff. You know, Thorin being exiled, like the kind of dwarven conflict underneath the plot of The Hobbit. So giant eagles then. And I wanted to do, again, kind of a Tolkien-esque thing with them where they are intelligent and they have a society sort of their own. But for an extra little twist, that society is, like, completely impenetrable to dwarves. That there is no, like, lingua franca, right? And even spells like comprehend languages, which are rare in Khûm anyway, because it's a wizarding spell and wizardry is not very common here, don't really bridge the gap. There's, like, too many cultural references that, like, the eagles are intelligent, clearly, and sentient, and helpful. They're, like, good. Like, they have a tendency to help dwarves and to be, like, allies to the dwarves. But there's no good, like, their cultures are so different and their mindsets are so different that they sometimes have trouble communicating, right? Like, kind of think like a Close Encounters of the Third Kind sort of a thing, where it's like or E.T., like, they're benevolent, but you can't really, like, have a conversation with an eagle, you know? And they're intelligent too, but it's just, like, it's a different kind of, like, alien intelligence. So the point being that I do think, though, that the eagles live in the roof beams, which are the mountain range that the cloud peaks are in, right? The tallest ones with the wing rock. And I think that I like the idea of there being this long-standing relationship between the cloud peaks and the giant eagles of Khûm. That, like, they've long had an alliance almost. And so then I think one of the claimants believes that they can talk to the eagles, and the eagles can help them get back into the castle, right? So that's Eagle Friend. Maybe that's the eldest. I like the hardest worker or whatever as well. But I feel like you have to have at least one claimant who, like, doesn't want to go back or something, right? Like, you kind of have to have the person who's, like, opposed to the very notion of it. Although we do want an artificer in there. Okay, so let's do... let's roll a gender here. Male again. Yeah, exactly. And they all feel like they've had to... Yeah, exactly. You're totally right, Brent. They all had to suffer through the Thane, right? And this rando comes in who has no claim. That's exactly right, Brent. That's totally the tone. So I got another male dwarf here. Because Zedgar's male, the nephew's male. Let's roll for this third one. If I get a female, then, like, I'll take it. But I feel like I should... I don't. Okay, so one of these two is going to be female. Yeah, we'll say the Eagle Friend is female. I think let's vary this up a little bit. Cool. Okay, so... but what's their relationship? So I think this is a direct child. I think that this is Zedgar's daughter. daughter. The younger child of Zedgar, daughter believes that the eagles, that the giant eagles, the ancient allies of Clan Cloudpeak, are the key to accessing the floating citadel. Unlike her... Ooh, one be a very young sibling? Yeah, they could have been like a child. I like that. When that happened, unlike her... So it's the only daughter, the only child of Zedgar. Because, yeah, then it's interesting. It like, varies it up. Although... Okay, back. Found a successor and is stubborn about them, but they don't want it. The Eagles vowed on a Dwarven contract, and they don't get why the daughter wants to. Yeah, I don't know about the Eagles invalidated. Because, like, I don't think that the Eagles can, like, make vows, you know? I like the idea of, like, of the... Ooh, maybe the... Yeah, let's run with your first idea, Jose. What if this is... So this is a sibling. Okay, I want to break both of these ideas down. I like Brent's idea that, like, this is a sibling... Because then it's like different relationships to the Thane, right? It's like baby sibling, you know, baby sister, baby brother, whatever, like child, and then like nephew. So if I'm, yeah, nephew still works. So it would be like Zedgar's sibling's child, right? Or like Zedgar's, like I'm trying to figure out if he's a grand nephew. He's a nephew of Zedgar's sister's child. Oh my gosh, confusing. But I like that they all have different relationships. And then let's say, ooh, let's roll for this one too. I almost want to make him female just to make it even. Yay, female. Okay. So it's like Zedgar's sister, Zedgar's daughter, and then Zedgar's grandnephew. So I like the idea, taking Jose's notion. Originally, Zedgar's apprentice, right? That like, and successor. And successor. Like, her claim was challenged, or is challenged when Zedgar kind of opens it up. Right? I mean, you could switch it too. The daughter could be the one who was named, but I like the idea that somebody was supposed to inherit, right? And again, it's interesting if it's like Zedgar's younger sister as opposed to like his child. You know, that's the interesting thing with the dwarves is that they can move that around. It's not exactly how a human would do it. We'll get to that in just a moment. But I think that the daughter, the eagle one, unlike her nephew or whatever, right? Unlike nephew, she is willing to accept help. But only on the condition. Like, what if, yeah, I wonder if the daughter is like kind of the one that you're supposed to work with. Because she doesn't really want the throne, right? The throne. She simply wants her father. Her father. Yeah, Wakanda forever for sure. Wants her father to, like, die. Well, not to die, but, you know, like, to rest. But, like, her father's super old, right? And he's been around for forever, and, like, he can't rest until this happens. So the daughter has to, like, wants to get in there, and, like, who cares who sits on the throne? What matters is that the thing is done, right? That, like, if they spend too much time squabbling. So my argument then for the sibling, right, is that she doesn't care about the castle, right? Like, maybe she has to try to care about it, but I like the idea that, like, one of them thinks that the castle is, like, a stupid distraction. You know, one of them has to believe that, like, it was never a big deal and that screw that castle. I mean, maybe it's backwards, though, because if this is a female sibling, like, You know? Like, would they have known about the castle? I mean, maybe they were, like, born on the way out, right? They never saw it either. And so they've always kind of resented the talk of it. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. The youngest sibling... Sibling of Zedgar. Sibling was born during the retreat, which is the time when they led the Exodus, right? And never saw Castle Cloudpeak. Yeah. Cloudpeak. She resents its importance to the clan and sees plenty of wealth and opportunity in the Cloud Peaks, or in the roof beams, right? That, like, we could just make a new place that does not have to be that place. Chasing the castle is a pipe dream. And she resents the new arrangement. So the question is that, like, if she was born during the retreat, she had to have basically been named successor. Yeah, I mean, like, I think she, like, functionally runs the clan, right? That she was, like, named successor. Yeah. She was named successor before they realized, the dwarves realized they could return. They could return to Khûm. When word reached them, Zedgar declared that... Well, but that doesn't work either, because then, like, how did the nephew, like, study wizardry in the meantime, you know? I mean, it has been 50 years since that happened, so that's possible, yeah. Whomever could reclaim would be the new... Could reclaim the castle would be the new heir. Much to siblings' distress. And, like, to siblings' credit, like, they were running the clan, right? As Edgar's daughter, she never sought the throne. She never sought the throne, knowing it was always for sibling. Now she seeks it, but not for the same reasons her family does. A young boy, when the dwarves heard, when Clan Cloudpeak heard of Khûm's return, I heard technically it's called the advance, when they blew the horn to signal them back. He dedicated his life to wizardry in order to claim the throne. Okay, cool. The peer council is interesting. There's so much going on here, I might leave that alone. I think that they're, like, a deeply depopulated clan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that there were ever that many Cloud Peaks to begin with. Because they were, like, very... Yeah, and that's interesting, too. Like, a lot of the other Elder Clans, like, would eventually grow and outstrip the Underclans. Because whenever you marry into a clan, you can choose which name to keep and which clan to join. And because the Elder Clans were bigger and more prestigious and wealthier, most of the time, if you were from an Underclan, you would always use the name of the better clan. So most clans, like True Silver was enormous. There were tons of True Silver because everyone was, like, trying to get that name, right? It made them seem more legitimate or whatever. But I like the idea that Cloud Peak was, like, pretty small. Like, they weren't allowing a lot of marriages. They always kind of remained small because it was only the dwarves that could really, like, operate in Castle Cloudpeak. Good. In Castle Cloudpeak. Okay, cool. So I want to talk about other clans, specifically Underclans, and then I want to talk famous personages, and then the seat, and then I think we are done. Cool. Yeah, I'm really happy with the prominent members. That was some awesome work, especially from Brent coming in with some great like drama between the individual characters. Like it feels very Game of Thrones, very like these are all their different claims. Cloudpeak is one of the, like I think the weirdest, most noodly clan ideas, right? It was all just coming from like, what's a crazy thing that Khûm should have? It's got to have like a flying castle, right? Or actually, it might have been born of trying to think of different like famous mineral or like magical minerals, and I was like, oh, there's got to be a levitating one, and then that kind of spun out into, well, what would they have? They would definitely have a flying castle. Like, what would be weird about it? Oh, what if it's like, you know, loose? Okay, I want to talk about Underclans first. So in general, I think that they the Cloudpeaks have a rocky relationship with their Underclans. Too concerned with their floating luxury, with their sky-high luxury, to bother with the day-to-day running, day-to-day ruling of their Underclans. They were unpopular. Popular among their subordinates. Who were forced to fend for themselves. So we have a couple options here. Basher Horn was amongst them, but they're not around anymore. But I know they were on here. I'll put them Basher Horn. I'll put like dead or defunct. Sometimes the smaller clans will like come and go, right? So the only ones, I think that these guys are also, what is the term I don't use defunct. What is the term I use for that? Extinct? Yeah, I think it's extinct. A little pretty gruesome. Yeah, extinct. Because like Deep Veins have a couple of extinct ones. They have Copper Keel and Silk Spindle are both extinct. So of the ones we have here, Basher Horns are extinct. They were the subject of like a civil war that's about to happen in my home game. It's like about 100 years away from happening. Extinct. These guys are goat breeders. There's a big scandal where one of the queens names her squire essentially to succeed her on the throne, and he's a member of Clan Basherhorn, which is like not only an underclan but like a particularly kind of like provincial underclan, right? Like sort of like a backwoods Appalachia underclan. Yeah, they breed goats, and goats for like riding. And it causes this whole succession crisis thing that takes 3 sovereigns to resolve, and there's a civil war at one point. And it's a whole big chaotic thing. And as a result of the civil war, the Clan Basherhorn basically ceases to exist. But so they're not super relevant here, but they are technically, or at least they were an underclan of Cloudpeak at one point. Quicklime, I think, is much more important. They are trap makers. And yes, for those of you Matt Colville fans, that is a reference to his dwarf in the Valengard game. Expert trap makers. Clan Quicklime was commissioned to create the gauntlet of traps that protect Castle Cloudpeak. While the clan never returned from Khûm, their hold likely holds the secrets to circumventing those traps. Right? Like, if the castle has all these traps in it, somebody had to design those traps. And I like the idea, like, we didn't have a trap-making clan, and I like the idea that it was Castle Quicklime, right? Because it's used as an explosive in, like, Greek fire and stuff. So I don't know what their hold is called, because we always try to figure out their hold names. There are always these, like, slightly too clever, you know, spears take for Stack Spear, and I have some good ones for Deep Vein. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, Golden Plate has Clan Gem Cutter, obviously, who cut a lot of gems. Their seat is called Shine Heart. And then Clan Ambergrease, who are like perfumers and elixir and like alchemists. They're Bitter Haven, you know, stuff like that. So Deep Vein has Broadbeam, who makes like tunnels and supports. Their place is called Strong Arch. Blade Forgers have Fine Forge. Carpakeel had a place called Cross Guard because it was at these bridges across an underground lake. Stone Splitter, of course, had Split Stone. And then Silk Spindle had a place called Wide Warren. Silk Spindle used to breed purple worms. The breeders of excellent insects. Yeah, they would make silk. Okay. So we need to think of some name for Quicklime. It's, again, another one of those things where, because I'm so picky about names, it's not the end of the world if we can't. But then I would love to think of one more. Like right now, we have only one extant clan for them. Underclan, and that's Cogwheel, who I think we devised last time, at least as a concept. They're sort of like makers of clockwork, which could be useful, I think, in the castle. But we don't really know much else about them. Makers of fine clockwork. I gotta think of something cool for them. Like, what's their relationship? Makers of fine clockwork. They've come back. Clan Cogwheel is one of the few Cloudpeak Underclans to return. Oh, I have a couple. What was I thinking? What about like Snow Perch? Are they in here? Yeah, okay, I do have a few. Axebite and Bracebow. Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, that's like, it's been almost too long for me. Okay, let's go back. Axebite. They're only listed there. Timberhall. Okay, sorry, I know I'm jumping around a lot. So let's do Cogwheel really quick. Although I don't know much about them. Cogwheel. We'll come back to them. You guys help me brainstorm something cool for them. Like, what's their... They make, like, clockwork, but what are they doing there? What's their little, like, thing? Like, if you look at, like, Stack Spear, famous weaponsmiths, not renowned for magic weapons, but instead for the sheer speed at which weapons were made and the sheer size of their armory, they, of all the clans, have the most cordial relationship with Clan Lodestone, right? Or, like, the Golem clan was founded by a maverick artificer who left Clan Iron Wonder. The primary producer of clay, stone, and iron golems in Khûm. It's a cult of personality to their founder. They are rich, politically influential, and would overshadow a more concerned Elder Clan. And they made the Ghul Yovari, who are kind of like the corpse collector golems. Gosh, where's my information about Bracebow and Timberhall? Because there's a forest over here. I'm sure this is fascinating viewing right now. I'm scrolling through all my old notes. Okay, let me pull up, see if I can find the other notes that I have about it. Just a moment. Yeah, I gotta do it over here. Because I think it must have been doing some work on the map is probably why I figured this out. But there's two more. So there's Axebite, which is like a logging clan. So it's, again, kind of unusual in that it's not like a smith clan or something like that, right? They don't really make anything. And they have like a wooden hold called Timberhall. And then there's Bracebow, who I believe like make crossbows. And they have a seat called Snow Perch, which is like way up at the top of a mountain, and it's famous for its like, you know, there's like a staircase that leads to it called like the Killing Stair or whatever, right? Because it's this like Kirathongal style tall staircase. Let me see what I can glean about them from my notes. Sorry, guys. This is a very messy document I have here with all my locations. Timber Hall, just search it. Come on. Oh, it's being so slow. Yeah, wow. Really slow. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, alright, so it's constructed in the Flagstones. Timber Hall is the seat of Clan Axebite, a clan known for axes, logging, and conflict with the Wood Elves of the Shatterwood. They were staunch allies of Clan Bracebow, and their two holds, Timber Hall and Snowperch, are within close proximity. Yeah, it was made of wood. It's the only dwarven hold not constructed of stone. It burned down during the Sorrows, torched in vengeance by the fire-worshipping elves. However, Timber Hall also contains a secret bunker made from stone and unknown to both the Wood Elves and the modern Axebites. Snowperch. Okay, so let's get Axebite in here, because that might actually be enough. Axebite. I don't know if they're still around. I think they are. And then Bracebow is the other one. Bracebow. Bracebow says, constructed in the roof beams, Snowperch was the seat of Clan Bracebow, famous for their crossbows. While a small hold, it commands an impressive view of the Shatterwood below, including Timber Hall, the seat of Clan Axebite, their staunch ally. Snowperch bristles with ballistae, and the stair that leads to the front gate is called the Killing Stair, for how deadly the approach would be. Mounted atop, Snowperch is an enchanted crossbow capable of firing clear across the kingdom. It was often used to deliver messages and even once to slay a red dragon that laired in the area. Many of Dunia's magical bolts still reside in the Snowperch armory. And then, yeah, that's right. So the current residents of Snowperch are not Bracebows, but instead Axebites. That's what it was. So the conceit is that, like, let's write these guys down. So they are still around. I think Bracebow is extinct. There's so many extinct clans over here. But Axebite, famous loggers of the Shatterwood, Clan Axebite, were staunch allies of Clan Bracebow. And when they returned to Khûm to discover their hold burned down, they fled to Snowperch, the hold of their old ally, and took up residence there. Burned down by fire-worshipping wood elves. Cool. And then Clan Bracebow is extinct. Famous crossbow and ballista makers. Clan Bracebow were staunch allies of Clan Axebite. Axebite. Their hold bristled with ballistae. Including one magical crossbow, basically like the wind lance or whatever in the Hobbit movie. Crossbow that could shoot clear across the kingdom. Their hold was called Snowperch. And then Axebite's one was called Timber Hall. Oh my gosh, get out of here. There we go. Bold Timber Hall. So we need one more. I would love to figure out something for Cogwheel. They've come back. What is their relationship to Cloudpeak? Like, if you want to say that they have like frosty relations, and it feels like Cogwheel has to be the one that like doesn't get along with them. I like the idea of at least one clan returning and like while Cloudpeak is so concerned with Castle Cloudpeak, they're like mining the Wing Rock, you know? Like longtime rivals of clan. I don't know that that's right for Cogwheel. I think there's gotta be like another clan that's that, right? So like one more Underclan. So I need an Underclan idea. I think that they're like quiet, and I think Cogwheel is quiet and unassuming. I kind of like the idea you had before, Jose, about like them being mathematicians, unassuming. They have a sort of like watchmaker energy. The Cogwheels are more concerned with making their watches and clocks in peace, and do not wish to disturb the... Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're all about, like, fiddling and, like, tinkering with clockwork. They're not really... They don't strike me as the kind of, like, ambitious, manipulative type. Because I like the idea that one of these Underclans is using the fact that the... what was I going to say? What do we have yet? So Labor Union, Mine Safety, Priesthood, Shadow Clan, Underground Sea. We have Sanitation, Sewers. Ooh, Scrappers. Yep. That's who it is. It's a Scrap Clan. I don't know what their name is. They're like Scrap Clan. A traditionally lower class clan. The Scrappers are using this opportunity while Cloudpeak has their back turned. Or while Cloudpeak has their back turned. To mine as much wing rock as they can. However, not trained to the practice, they are less experienced and more likely to cause an accident, right? To cause an accident. Bingo. Boulder Pusher. Add Wingstone to Clockwork Finesse. Stone Reclaimer. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like it's like dross or like metal, like smelt. I think smelt is interesting, right? If they're like melting stuff down. Smelter. Clan something smelter. Steel smelter. You know, it's I like smelt. Like melting down, right? Clan meltdown. Smelt down. Yeah, it's something with smelt. It's just tricky because like I have used like stone and rock hundreds of times in these names, so you have to really start to get kind of creative, you know? But I think that's right. I need something with the cogwheels. Like, what's their little thing? Like, I like them being kind of like quiet and reclusive and just like, you know, back to their thing. Hey, Shadowner, what's going on, man? Maybe they have some kind of a like, I don't want to say like a doomsday device, but there's like some contraption that they're working on. Yeah, totally slag heaps and junk and things like that, yeah. They, unbeknownst to the world, they are working on a device. They are working on a device that could change everything, right? Like, what, a time machine. You know what I mean? Like, that could change. It's gotta be a time machine. They're working on a time machine. Because it's a clock, right? On a time machine in secret. It was like something they had to abandon during, right? And now they're back from outer space to like finish it or get it out, or like maybe potentially like turn back time, you know? Yeah, 100%. Because then like, what a cool plot if you go back, you know, brimstone smelter. Smelter, you delter. Smelter Delter. That's the name of the clan, yeah. Okay, that's good for Underclans, I think, because we have like Axe Bites are back, Cogwheels are back, and then the Smelts are back. Okay, let's talk about the seat, I think. Early tests only send you forward. Yeah, that's neat. I think that's cool. Okay, let's talk about Castle Cloudpeak. So its design. How do I do these normally? How do I describe them? I just like a little paragraph. Okay, then the history, and then like 3 like unusual or interesting locations. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about Lodestone having a network of electrified cable cars. That's so cool. Okay, let's talk about this. So what we know about this has actually shown up in a campaign. Shadowrunner, you played in Hall of the Hornwinder. I think you were the one who saw the castle. Actually, it was Warren the turtle who went up to the top of oh my gosh, what's the name of the mountain? Horn Hollow, and saw the castle fly by. Constructed atop a slab of stone. A slab of stone. Castle Cloudpeak is likely the most picturesque of the Elder Holds. The Elder Holds. Yeah, totally. Yep, up from the Snowy Lookout. I imagine that the castle has kind of a, like, it's definitely Dwarven in design. Yeah. While certainly Dwarven in design, it has a certain like fairy tale castle look, right? They kind of designed it to look a little bit castle look. You know what I mean? Like it kind of looks like the Disney castle a little bit. It's like got turrets. It has turrets and battlements, and is very symmetrical in design. Right, it's because it's like meant to be viewed. Like you're meant to look up at it and see it fly by and be like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? So I think a lot of it is about how it looks from the outside. It's this like kind of picturesque, not especially defensible, because I think the conceit is that, you know, you don't really need it. Oh, there's also, I forget what it's called. I think it's like Skydock or something like that. It has some name. Man, now I don't remember. Hold doesn't help me. But there's a place in Castle Cloudpeak. Let me see if I can find it. It's not in Castle Cloudpeak, but it's like a man, I can't find it. Damn. High Anchorage, yep. There's a mountain in the roof beams called High Anchorage. Where it's like meant to dock, right? Where the castle is meant to dock. It appears to like depict, you know, 3 giant sets of arms like reaching out. So it's like, you know, it's like this or whatever. Maybe it's like a pair of hands. And it's like implied to be to depict a pair of hands, implied to be Ignon or whatever. With the castle nestled between them. Now that it serves as the Rock's Nest. Rock without a K. The Rock's Nest. Yeah, there's a subplot. There's so many little things in the game. There's a subplot where the giant eagles being predated on by the dragons basically flew off and stole a rock's egg, and now they and raised it like a cuckoo, right? So now they have like a rock that protects them from the dragon. The dragon, you know, used to eat giant eagles, and then now the dragon runs in fear from the rock. Okay, so its history, right, is that it was like the 3rd attempt at a flying attempt. The third attempt at a flying seat. Castle Cloudpeak is the pride and joy. Of the clan. When the sorrows hit, they were forced to abandon it. The anchor dragging behind to leave a ruinous wake. Let's see. Epic Dwarf Crater displaying his masterwork. Yeah, totally. A ruinous wake. Yeah, I think that's fine. You know, let's talk about some locations. So there's definitely like a room that has like the wing rock in it, right? Like there's like at the base of the castle is the hunk of wing rock that keeps the castle afloat. I don't think it's a boulder, right? It's like no bigger than a soccer ball, no bigger than a basketball. You know, I think it's like this big, the amount of wing rock it takes to lift that. Cause like flecks of it are enough to like lift chairs and stuff. Keeps the castle afloat. Okay, and then what? Then I think we talk about there being like a sculpture garden in here. Describing everything. A sculpture gallery in the courtyard. A sculpture gallery. These are just like examples, 3 like important places. There's obviously tons more in the courtyard, full of floating statues with flecks of wing rock. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this too. That like one of the turrets is carpeted in ice and snow, having been attacked and briefly the lair of one of the white dragons. So there are 2 young white dragons. Yeah, that's a great question. How would you even weigh it? There are 2 white dragons that are active in Khûm right now. They're siblings. Boy, can I get their names right? Batharax and Basilcar are the 2. I think this was Batharax, the Bone Coat, as he is known, who attacked the thing. I like the idea that one of the dragons hates the castle. It hates that it's flying and it wants to take it down, but it can't quite. I think the castle maybe even has animated. Yeah, that makes sense because of Bracebow. Animated ballistas. Ballistae that shoot at anyone approaching the castle, right? So like the dragon hates it and attacks it whenever he can, but he can't really get that close to it because it's constantly shooting at him. Okay, cool. We're almost done. Let's do famous personages, and then I think we can call it. So the way these work is that they are just meant to be like famous people in the history of the clan. So like, let's look for an example. We didn't do them for Lodestone because they're tricky. But for Clan Golden Plate, we have 3. Mari Golden Plate was the original Thane who betrayed Clan Glimmergem, who was originally one of the Elder Clans. Mari was briefly revered by Clan Golden Plate, but reviled by everyone else. The Golden Plates still honor them, but only in secret. Her name, Ma, has become a shorthand for betrayal, but Golden Plate calls her Mari the Martyr. So that's one. You know, that kind of stuff, like these ancient things. Makemla is a controversial figure in Dwarven history. They were known for shirking rigid Dwarven gender roles. As reviled as they were by the stuffy establishment, many of their fashion innovations for both men and women persist to the modern day. And then Kava the Coward. During the Sorrows, Kava was the first to order her clan to flee. Maybe they'd even moved their gold out in preparation for the Sorrows. The rumor is that she knew something was coming, but whether that's true or not remains to be seen. So it's these kind of like famous people. I think Zedgar probably counts as one of them, because he's the one who like abandoned the castle. So I think Zedgar for sure counts. Zedgar Thane of... Oh, this is Lodestone. Whoopsie doops. Zedgar Thane of Cloudpeak. The last Thane of Clan Cloudpeak. Zedgar abandoned the castle in favor of his clan, but swore an oath that he would again sit upon his throne. He's the longest reigning Thane of Clan Cloudpeak. Okay, cool. I don't know their name. I'll do the names later. But I definitely want to do hey guys, sorry about that. You type something. Whoops. Can you guys hear me okay? I had a message that said that OBS stopped transmitting for a second. Everything cool? Let me know if you can hear me. Just checking. Maybe it was fine. That was a break? Or can you still hear me though? Chat owner? We good? Let me check it, make sure I can still. Okay, I'm back. Sweet, thank you. Yeah, I just had a little like thing pop up. I never had that happen before where it's like, you lost connection. Yeah, before when I was streaming at the other place, I was close enough to the router that I could run an Ethernet cable, but now the router's across the apartment just because of where it had to be plugged in, and so I need to get a new like super hyper long Ethernet cable just to get over here. Anyway, for the time being, we're very close to being done. So I'm gonna call this guy Airborne Thane. Or them. A Thane who famously never left Castle of Cloudpeak. Castle Cloudpeak. They were born and raised and lived and died all hundreds of feet above the ground. A hero to the clan, yet thought of as the ultimate Cloudpeak, right? Thought of as the ultimate Cloudpeak, for better or for worse. Like one more kind of like famous Cloudpeak. It could be historical in terms of like, you know, they did something in the history. Better or worse. Great, awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. We need one last one. One last one. I mean, like there are some historical stuff. Like there's the Civil War, and they could have gotten involved with that. This one I might do on my own, just because I can look at the full history of Khûm and like decide what's an interesting thing to do, right? I usually like to have one of the famous personages be pertaining to the Sorrows, like who was in charge then. I usually like to have one kind of in the middle and then one that's like early history stuff. You know, it could be the one who like completed the castle. You know, the architect for it. That's cool. Battles of Cloud Giants. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know what I haven't thought about Cloud Giants as how they pertain not only to Khûm but like to Ondune in general. That's interesting. I think they're the Charisma Giants, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a point in their history. Let's put it down here. Potential conflict with Cloud Giants in the ancient history. That's cool. Let's do Architect. Because I like that they're not a... Oops. But they are not a Thane. Architect. Yeah, someone from an Underclan. Oh, maybe they're a member of Cogwheel. A Cogwheel. Ah. A Cogwheel. Dwarf who, on commission from Clan Cloudpeak, successfully designed the apparatus that would allow the castle to fly. An unassuming inventor, given the highest honor. Given the highest honors in the clan. And officially named a Cloudpeak. Even though they didn't marry in. I like that. Because I imagine, like, that it has, like, some kind of weird, like... Yes, there's the wing rock, but I feel like it has, like, some weird kind of, like, clockwork contraption that allows them to, like, steer it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it has to have a lot of internal machinery. So, yeah, I feel like there's that. There's also probably a Quicklime who made the traps, but I think that this person, whoever figured out the thing... Because, again, we specified they had, like, 2 previous attempts. Okay, great. I think that's everything, everybody. Nice. Yo, Alan, it's funny. You came in here right at the very end. We are literally, like, moments away from ending. Thanks, everyone, for helping out with Clan Cloudpeak. I think that's cool. That's our last of the Elder Clans. That's all 7 of them. So, yeah, I'm not sure what we'll talk about next week. Honestly, because I'm about to do because the home game is about to get here to Khûm. Again, although Khûm, you know, a couple hundred, almost 1,000 years before the actual campaign, I might do that. We might talk about that, specifically like some dragons that I need to have developed. That'll be fun. Maybe we'll do that next week. So it's like Khûm of ages past kind of a thing. But yeah, we did really well. I want to go over what we talked about. We did material stuff really early. Jose, it was your idea to do Opal as the other of the 3 materials. We talked about their philosophy, and we settled on luxury. We talked about grandeur for a bit, which I still think maybe factors in, but that they're ultimately about comfort and like kind of looking down at the world from below. Then we talked about politics, and I think it was you, Brent, who had the really cool idea to talk about like the kind of open that broke it for me, where it was like, Zedgar will offer the Thanedom to whoever can, you know, get him back in the throne, whether they're in the clan or not. And that's what like sparks off the conflict between the different members of the family. So then we developed all of those. And then I think we talked about the Underclans a little bit. I think Cogwheel and the Scrap Clan were the only ones we like developed, because I already had Axebite and Bracebow. But like I'm in love with this idea of the time machine. I think that's like... Especially in like a campaign that is so much about like ancient history in the past. Like that feels like, that's one of the weird things about Khûm, you guys, is that it's like, I think you could go anywhere and do anything in this place. Like there is so much story here that like, I'm now a little worried that there's too much story and that you won't get to half of it. I just like the idea of having all of these options, so that way on the weird off chance they do decide to go to Snow Perch and talk to Clan Bracebow, like I know what that means and who's involved and at least the conceit of it, right? So we did that, and then we talked about, I think, famous personages, and then that was it. Yeah, so then we just went through those. Yeah, and that's where we're at. So, great. Thank you so much for coming and tuning in, everybody. I think I will be here next week. Next week's a little complicated because I have a game on Sunday, a long-standing Sunday game, and I got hired to run a game for an old friend's bachelorette party. That's also on Sunday, but we haven't picked a time yet. So I may be able to play. I may be able to stream. I may not. I will let you guys know. But the point is that I will be streaming more frequently now that I'm all set up here and everything seems to be working fine. But in the meantime, if you enjoy the content and the channel, you can subscribe to us, which I'm sure if you're on YouTube at all, you know how that works. Hit the subscribe button. And if you want to, you can hit the little bell and get a notification. All the things I'm legally obligated to say. If not, you can find us on Twitter. I am at XP Web Series. You can follow me there. We have an Instagram. Don't go to it. I never use it anymore. We do have a good Discord, though. You can check that out. There should be links and stuff below to all of those things. And if you really like me and want to support me, you can either visit our Patreon and become a Patreon backer, or you can hire me to run a game for you. Do you want to adventure in Khûm? I would be more than happy to run a Khûm game for you to help build out the world. But yeah, I think that's it for me. I will probably not be streaming much next week except for Sunday, but the week after that, once I'm done with my camp, I would really love to get a couple more streams off the ground, whether that's video games, or I have an idea for a new sort of patron related stream that I would like to do, because I think that would be fun and it would help me get through some work that I need to be doing in the week. Ugh, my throat is just all sore. That being said, it is so nice to be thinking about dwarves again, y'all. I'm excited to be back in the saddle and working on this. Maybe someday soon I will actually get to play this fucking campaign that I'm building for like 2 years. It's cool though. Man, if I had like the resources, I would write the biggest, coolest source book for Khûm. You know what I mean? Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I'm so happy to be back. You have a great night too. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for coming, everybody. Brent, Shadowrunner, Jose. Joey was in here for a bit, Castle Red Fox, and of course Alan at the very end. Thanks everybody. I will see you hopefully next week.
Hmm.